Yeah, for real. Literally. On today's like, now we got and that's it. Right. Yeah, that's what I'm about to do right now. Oh, mics are hot though. Oh, nice.
Like It or Not with Benjamin Dixon starts now.
Whew. Good morning, James.
Good morning, good morning, good morning.
I cannot even believe
It is that. Make sure our mics are hot, man, because it's that
ready.
kind of day.
Oh
I
my
wasn't
God,
ready
bro.
to know that I was going to be mountains, and at least mine got color on it. I got a little.
Look,
yellow
I'm
on
looking like,
mine.
look at me over there, looking like the Caucasus Mountains over there.
They ain't even got Bubba a picture. But listen, if I were to be somewhere, I would love to be where.
Oh, there we go.
I was just now. Well, who I was.
Oh my God.
Wait, we got three of us. We've got three of us. Oh, we got two of us. Where's it? James still looking like a digital background server. All right, James.
I'm in the Matrix today. There we go.
It is one of those mornings.
It was a struggle this morning.
This morning was a straight out struggle. Matter of fact, I don't even care. Go ahead and bring up Georgia Ford. She's been waiting. She's been in here as long as I've been in here this morning. Georgia Ford is coming to us live from Minneapolis, Minnesota, where she has been covering. She has been covering, rather. She's been covering the Derek Chauvin trial. And she's been out in the streets just covering everything that's happening in Brooklyn Center. And Georgia, thank you for joining us. How are you this morning?
Thank you for your patience as well.
Yes.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Thank you. Man, it's a little different this morning because our city is now like an official war zone, it feels like. 79 people were arrested Tuesday night. I think 24 were arrested yesterday. We've been tear gassed, maced, hit with rubber bullets. I was hit with a rubber bullet yesterday. So, man, I'm thankful that I'm
How
still
are
here,
you?
that I'm living.
Thank you, Jesus.
Yeah. How are you physically and emotionally? Because I know you said you got gassed. I mean, we've seen the footage, but you're on the ground. Tell us more about like how you're doing.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm okay. I'm thankful. You know, I always try to stay centered in my faith. And a wise woman once told me, stay at the thank you. And so, you know, to be able to walk away from that situation, knowing some people, there's a young man I know, he got hit by a rubber bullet in the side of his face and he now has fractures. And he's a young man, like 18, 19 years old. Some people, you know, hit harder with the tear gas. Luckily, yesterday I had a gas mask. And so when I got maced, it didn't really affect me at all. And then I got hit in my ankle. And because of the kind of shoes I had on, I think it absorbed a lot of, you know, just the momentum from the bullet or whatever. So I'm okay. But I'm concerned about not only my community, but when you think about the fact that these protesters are out here because another unarmed Black man was killed by the police, and the police's response is to be militarized. And so it's so it feels very hypocritical, you know, that they're using this type of force when they wouldn't have to if they would just stop using force, fatal force.
Right. No, and then when we compared it, we talked about this yesterday. We've been comparing it to the lack of force, the absolute absence of force in Washington, D.C. on January 6th, where the terrorists stormed into the Capitol and the police and the National Guard, the Capitol Police and National Guard basically stood down and were given instructions to stand down. And yet here we have unarmed protesters protesting on behalf of Black lives, getting the full force of the National Guard and the city police and some state police, I imagine, are there. We've been covering it. Tell us a little bit more about what people are saying on the ground and the intensity of it, because as we saw last summer, the more the police tried to, or no, not tried, the more police assaulted protesters, it seemed like the more protesters came out. Is that the sentiment there? Are people like still motivated to continue the fight that they're fighting for?
Absolutely. Especially here in Minnesota, where, the center of the protesters, the center of the people who are organizing this have been on the ground even before George Floyd. You got to think there was Jamar Clark, Philando Castile. We've had so many high profile cases. And then there's a lot of cases that nobody knows about. Cordell Handy Jones, Marcus Golden, Jafford Smith, Brian Quinones, the list goes on and on. And so here, people are tired, but relentless and willing to do whatever it takes to continue pressing forward for change. And so you can shoot us, you can gas us, you can lock us up, but you are not going to make us stop fighting for just basic human rights. I mean, why is it okay for a 20-year-old unarmed Black man to get killed and quote unquote accidentally, as they're trying to say? Why is that okay? And so I think that as we do move forward and we continue pressing for change, we just have to be mindful of our own tenacity in this fight, because it's exhausting.
It seems like, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I was just gonna, Rebecca, you got it. But I just completely there's so many shootings that we have had to cover over the years. I completely forgot about Jamar Clark back in 2015. Yeah. I mean, and I forgot that was in Minneapolis.
Yeah.
And Minneapolis and Philando Cast. Wow. I know. Yeah, I definitely understand. Go ahead, Rebecca. I'm sorry.
That's you have the same group of protesters who sat in the middle of winter for 18 days for Jamar Clark, right?
Yeah.
Didn't really get any justice. Those same group of protesters then showed up after Philando Castile, but multiplied. Then those same group of protesters showed up for George Floyd, multiplied. And so you can't keep doing this. And I think that's the context that has been missing from mainstream media, is that a lot of times when mainstream media is covering the latest officer involved killing, they're not providing that context for how we got here. This is not new for Minnesota. They've been killing us down like dogs, and people here are tired of it. And that's why you continuously see an elevated response and the preparation, because this is not the first time that we've been through this. And so there are certain things, tactics, like gas masks. Do you know how many people out there had a gas mask yesterday? Like, oh, you gonna gas us? Cool. We'll just go get our gas mask.
That's it.
Like that should not be a regular household item. It just shouldn't.
None of that should be norm. And even in your voice, I can tell the frustration, and I can tell that you're tired. And just being in somewhere like that where it's constantly happening is tough. What for me is that you're on the ground as a journalist, and yes, you're there, you're a person of color in the community, but you're on the ground as a journalist, and these officers don't even care if the journalist or whoever's in the way, you're getting shot. And I particularly believe, because you are a person of color, they don't even care what your credentials are, even on the ground. It's literally just, she's probably a part of the protesting or what's happening. So we don't care. Everybody's getting it. And that, to me, that speaks loudly to me. Yeah. They don't care. You're out there, you're getting gassed, you're getting, shot with the rubber bullet. And, it's just, you're putting your life in danger, and you're there to cover the story. But, and of course you are feeling it as a person of color, sitting there knowing that this is happening time and time again. The connection is too close to each person that they take from us. So I definitely hear the pain in your voice. But I also, in that same breath, I'm very grateful that you are out there doing this, and that you're able to get it to us. And people don't understand, I don't think people understand how tough that is to be out there on the ground. I mean, you were just there, you were saying this happened to you yesterday. And are you planning to be out there as well today?
Well, we'll see if people are out there today. I think once you start looking at more than 100 arrests for
Yeah.
of the protesters, several people have sustained injuries.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the credible leaders now are stepping back, and people have been out there for 4 days straight. So we'll see. We'll play it by ear. I'm keeping my eyes on it. If people are out there, I definitely will be out there, Rebecca. And I do want to say that you're absolutely right. As a journalist of color, I do feel targeted, and I think rightfully so. Do you guys remember the CNN reporter
Yeah.
last year who was reporting on George Floyd that was
Yes.
arrested live on
Yep.
television,
Yes.
Yeah.
while
Yeah.
his white counterparts were allowed to sit there and continue reporting? And so they
Yep.
absolutely do have a target on our backs. And I am curious to know, where are the media organizations that step up for like the legal protections for journalists? Because these guys were telling us not last night, but the night before, they were giving media dispersal orders. That
That's
is a
it. I remember that.
violation of
Yeah.
our First Amendment
Mm-hmm.
constitutional right to free
Right.
press. How can you order the media to disperse? And I mean, obviously, arresting Omar live on television last year was embarrassing for them. But then, like, you're basically doing the same thing because you don't want people to see that you're shooting people down. You don't want people to see that, peaceful protesters are being gassed out, that residents, children who live in these apartment buildings right across the street
Right.
from the Brooklyn Center Police Department are being impacted by this as well. And so they want the cameras gone so that they can just do whatever they want to do.
Exactly.
That's
Yep.
that's the there is a police state in this country, and you are on the front lines covering it. And we saw it like in full force last year when they arrested Omar Jimenez. And then not only him, but you saw how many reporters were assaulted last year, and they're carrying that on to this day. The difference, though, which is so frustrating, is that we have a clear contrast as to how they treat Black people versus those white supremacists that marched up the steps of the Capitol. And not only that, it is the fact that there's so much silence. You asked the question, how are these media companies silent? And the real answer is it's because they're part of this system. I want to know from you, because this is the saddest irony is we scheduled you to come on to talk about the Derek Chauvin trial.
Right.
And between the time we scheduled you to come on to talk about the Derek Chauvin trial in the same city or 15 minutes away, we're now having to cover another police shooting, another police murder of another Black man. And it just seemed like it is a vicious cycle. I don't even think I really have a question to ask you so much as to, I just would like for you to speak on that impact of having to cover that trial. And now you can't even get to cover that trial because the police are having their riot in the streets.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. I mean, you hit the nail on the head, Ben, and it's sad, that here we are, and this trial is being overshadowed by yet another police killing, and it really is telling, though, that nothing has changed since George Floyd was killed. That we're still in the same predicament. That the calls and cries for police reform, defunding the police, abolish the police, they were pacified, but they weren't really truly considered. And so the reality for, I believe, white America, until this stuff changes, they're going to have to continue to face that this is going to be a reality, because Black folks are not going to quit pressing. I mean, look at our ancestors. And I do think, I don't want to negate the fact that we have made some progress, and not in terms of changing police. Like, I still feel
Right.
like the police culture is exactly where it was when George Floyd was killed. But I want to say that because so many people are relentless and they're hitting the streets and they're chanting for justice, and they're showing up and they're willing to get arrested and they're willing to put their bodies on the line. Think about this, you guys. 5 years ago, Do you know how long it would take for them to release body cam footage? Think
Yeah.
about that. 10 years ago, when it was an officer involved shooting, there's no way that somebody would be getting fired or let go or resigning or anything like that. They would sit there, they would go on a paid leave, they'd be
Yeah.
on vacation until the end of the investigation. And so when you see now, because you have thousands of people who are literally thousands of people who are in the streets. And so it's applying pressure on these entities to do something different. And so in less than 24 hours, we saw the officer body cam footage of the killing of Dante Wright released in less than 24 hours. Unfortunately, they let her resign before terminating her.
Exactly.
But then she was charged. And so historically, it has taken a lot longer to see any charges. They say, oh, we're investigating. And before they used to hit us with we can't release the body cam because it's evidence in an investigation. And it would sometimes take years to see that evidence. And we know then that gives them time to potentially edit it or delete portions of it or what have you, if you believe that to be true. But I've interviewed, you got to think, I have interviewed more than 20 mothers who have lost a child to the hands of police across a dozen different states. And they all say the same thing. That was work that I was doing with Unicorn Riot co-producer Nico. And we interviewed all of these mothers before George Floyd was even killed. And they all said the same thing. And so you have to start to think, if people are having the same experience, and it's not just isolated to Minnesota, and maybe we should listen to them. And maybe we truly do have a problem.
Yeah. No, it is.
There is a problem.
There's a deeply rooted problem. And the truth of the matter is that problem cuts to the core of this entire democracy, this entire American experiment. This is the Achilles heel. They can't stop killing us. And we aren't going to stop fighting back against them killing us. The thing is that there's so much lack of accountability, and so often we don't see justice. And we see like the trial with Derek Chauvin, and we see how the defense is putting their case, and they're doing everything in they possibly can to get this man off with murder, because we've seen so many times that they can still get away with murder. I'm afraid, and I don't. Where are you in terms of because you've been out in the streets with what's happening over Dante Wright? Have you had a chance to even double back to your coverage of the George Floyd trial? The Derek Chauvin trial, the murderer of George Floyd.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So by day, I'm covering the trial. By night, I'm covering the protest. This is interesting. So everybody's eyes now has been turned to make sure that this officer who killed Dante Wright is charged, so that overshadowed the trial. Well, guess what was happening Wednesday morning, right? When all the protesters are at home because they've been out all night. Guess what happened Wednesday morning in court? During a pretrial hearing, attorney Eric Nelson, his motion to have Derek Chauvin's charges acquitted.
Yes.
That motion was being reviewed. Now, ultimately, it was denied. But think about that. Think about how this situation has distracted so many people. And it's like Eric Nelson came in, okay, ain't nobody looking. Can you acquit us now?
That's exactly what happened.
What? And so it was interesting because I know a lot of people are following this trial. And when I mentioned that fact yesterday, I said, do you know that the judge dismissed the defense's motion to acquit Derek Chauvin? They're like, what? He made a motion to be acquitted? Yeah. But it didn't make headlines because now everybody's been talking about, Dante Wright, and rightfully so. His life deserves to be remembered. But at the same time, it's very concerning that just 3 days after another unarmed Black man is killed, you're in court asking to be acquitted? How dare you? How dare you?
They'll take any opportunity they can. And that's just like, it's just like, okay, now it's another guy that's died. We can definitely get it, get this in favor of you. Let's just go ahead and make this motion. And they don't care. It's just about getting these people off. And if we look at the officer with Dante Wright, same thing. This officer, that woman, she has full protection around her home, all of that. And then, she goes into jail she's without bail. So that was the headlines, right? And then as quick as that came, she bailed out. So it was like, we were like, well, didn't she go on without bail? They will do everything they can to protect or to find a way, find a loophole, anything they can. And they will always protect their own and figure out a way, no matter, like you were talking about the body cams. It's so interesting that you were talking about that, because there was a point in time we thought, okay, finally we have it on camera.
Yeah.
Now this is going to be, the evidence is all there. They cannot say that this did not happen. Now they will find things like, okay, let's go ahead and draw out this trial. Let's make it longer than ever. And let's act like we have to find other evidence, and we have to blame the bystanders who were just standing there. Let's do that. They will find any way. And it's funny because yesterday when we had Isaiah James for Congress on here, he was saying that even with the body cams, they will kill you in cold blood.
Yep.
And then everybody will act like it didn't happen. They will literally stand in court and act like it did not happen. They will kill you in cold blood. They will call you out. They will have they will say that they were trying to reach for a taser on their body cam. And we will see that there's a gun right there. We will hear the interactions that are happening. They
don't care.
And they do not care. Whatever works for them, not for the person that they murdered, not for the families of the people that they murdered, not for the people out there that are protesting. They will start a war and say it's the other side. So I definitely, so it's not surprising that they went out and tried to file a motion to get that man acquitted, but it is disgusting though. It's disgusting all around.
What is your resolve? Oh, we're
being gaslit. I mean, I feel like this whole trial is the best example of how Black Americans are gaslit. That we have had to sit here for the last 3 weeks, despite the fact that we have all seen the video evidence, Rebecca, like you mentioned, but we're being told, no, that is not what happened.
Don't believe your lying ass eyes.
We saw it with our own eyes. And so it's crazy that, yes, you can have all the video evidence in the world. And think about, in this case, there were 5 different officers who had their body cameras on. That's 5 different angles. They had a video camera, a surveillance camera across the street that was providing an aerial view. We have an aerial view of what happened to George Floyd. We have 4 or 5 different bystanders who recorded it from this angle. 2 who recorded it from, we don't just have one piece of video evidence. We basically have a whole 3D view because of how many different people filmed it. And you're still trying to tell us that we didn't see what we saw. This is the greatest example of how Black Americans are gaslit in this country.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. And we have all the clips from this week of the trial, but I think you summarized it. Right. I think you summarize it. We're being gaslit. That's the end of the conversation. Right. Because for them to maintain the system that they have had to look at video evidence and say, that's not what happened. Even back with Tamir Rice, that cop pulled up within 2 seconds, didn't ascertain anything about the scenario, pulled out his gun and shot Tamir Rice within 2 seconds. But there's no accountability, right? We look at it. This is the thing that's going to destroy this country. That's really all I have to say at this spot, because when you say gaslit, that's what's going on, and they do it professionally, and they do it in the courtroom, and they do it in the media. The police officers do it everywhere we turn. They do it in Washington D.C. Everywhere we turn, we are being gaslit. My question to you, Georgia, because I know you got to get to cover the trial, and you're pulling double duty, and we really appreciate you sharing this time with us and telling us what happened to you and your personal experience. But you personally, as a journalist, where do you have you had a chance to even think about where you go from here with this type of coverage? Because one of the reasons I had to take a step back is because seeing this, it does something to you. Have you even had a chance to actually reconcile what you're seeing with you as a professional and as a mother and as a Black person?
Yeah, I mean, it's a challenge, and I think it's a challenge that we're all faced with. For me, I continue to try to prioritize my self care. I have a massage schedule because I feel the tension in my
Mm,
body, withholding all of everything that I've been exposed to, planning some time off,
Yes.
yeah.
But in terms of covering the stories, I feel like this is my contribution. I feel like this is my duty. I have had so many, negative things happen to me professionally since I came back to
Mm,
Minnesota, and through this process, it's been affirming to know, unfortunately, that it's not just me, that my experience in this state was not isolated, that there are some deeply rooted systematic injustices within the culture here, and it's not just in policing. You look
mm,
at the wealth disparities, the education disparities, the home ownership
Mm-hmm.
disparities, and when I lived in Georgia, people embraced me. I was excelling in my career. I had job opportunities in other states throughout the South. But when I came back here, there's this sentiment that if it's not white, it's not right. And so when I
mm,
decided to stay here and not leave for other job opportunities, because I could have continued being in mainstream media and paid well if I would have left. But when I chose to stay here, I chose to be a part of the solution, and
that's it.
as a storyteller, that's all I know how to do. And so we know when we look back at history, how are we consuming history? It's because somebody documented it. And
That's it.
so I think that journalists have an extremely important role in what's happening right now. And when I continuously ask myself, why am I here? Why did I get brought back here for this moment? Why did
Mm,
the injustices that happened to me that pushed me out of mainstream media? I wasn't given maternity leave in the 21st century,
mm,
And so when you start to ask yourself those things, you know that you're here for a reason, and you know that you're walking in your purpose, you have to keep pressing forward, and it's hard. And so I'm thankful for you guys uplifting me and supporting me, and the many other people who have reached out. It's challenging, but we're resilient. We stand on the shoulders of our ancestors, and I think that we have to keep pressing forward until we see change. I have 3 little girls, and if
mm.
any of them wants to be a journalist, and an American journalist at that, I never want them to have to go cover something in their own country that looks like a foreign war zone. And the
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
only way I can ensure that that doesn't happen, or I can do my best to ensure that doesn't happen, is to keep getting out here and doing
Doing your
doing what
part.
I'm doing.
Yeah, the work, doing the work. And that's a
All
lot
I
of people can't say that they're doing the work, but we can actually see and hear you. And I mean, we too appreciate having you on, being our eyes on the ground, because the difference between the mainstream and what we're doing here is that, we can actually give the true narrative about
mm,
what's going on. And even your account of what's happening, your experience, you being a professional on the ground, somebody who's covering the story rather than what we see, what's being shown on mainstream media. It's two different things. And, like Ben said earlier, uh, they're actually a part of trying to create that narrative, for whoever it works for. And that may be for the police officers or making it fluff or whatever. We are here to give the true experience, the true story, because if we don't do it, who else will?
mm. Georgia, as you were talking, all I could think of, you kept saying, you didn't know why, but the reason why is because, for such a time as this,
Yeah.
this was, we needed you. Everybody needs you on the ground doing what you're doing. You just make sure that you are extra safe out there, because there are eyes on you as well. You're getting your coverage of the George Floyd, of the Derek Chauvin trial. I always correct myself. The Derek Chauvin trial. You've been getting a lot of exposure, a lot of numbers that are eyes that are on your work. So just be mindful that as you do the work, you're elevating and more people are watching you. So just make sure that you're looking out for you as you do the work for the people. So thank you so much for
Absolutely.
coming on. Go get to that massage and get some self-care today. And anything that we can do, absolutely. Actually, everybody in the chat, I need everybody in the chat. If you're not already following her work, go to Facebook and follow her. Give them all the places where they should go to follow you and support your work.
The easiest ways to head over to my website, georgiafort.com. And then at the bottom, you can find all of the social links there. And Ben, thank you. I appreciate that. Rebecca, you all are amazing. It's always a pleasure to be on with you guys.
All right,
Pleasure is
girl.
ours.
Go take care of yourself.
Yes.
Yes.
James, take us to a break, man. And when we come back, a lot more Like It or Not after this.
Good morning again, everyone. Thank you again, Georgia Fort, for joining us this morning. We're gonna take y'all to this through some of this good music. And we hope y'all enjoyed our new personas that you saw this morning when we logged in and we had some technical difficulties. But definitely want to make sure that we go ahead and get the patron list read off because we did get set back a little bit. So we're going to go ahead and get that read off to y'all, okay? So are y'all ready? Here we go.
Back at Midtown, at Dogwood, when I was going through a rough patch, but it's all good. I even told about the dark times I had in childhood when we was driving off of I-10 in Kirkwood. Now all that time I never get it back. You wanted that.
Good morning, mama. Good morning. Good morning, mama. Good morning, sensation.
With your next jack, used to messing with them white boys.
Seven, sweetheart. Good morning.
Guess you ain't got yourself a real life. Got yourself some booty shots and live full up.
All right. Here are our new patrons, y'all. We have Sergio D, Lavelle M, welcome, y'all. Nick S, Andrea V, good morning, Andrea. Gary H, Jennifer D, Brandon C, and our new Twitch subscribers. We have Moose Soup, who is subscribed through June, and he also gifted, he or her, him, her, them, they, also gifted one subscription. So thank y'all so much. Welcome to the fold. Welcome to the Lion Pride family, y'all. And we hope that y'all enjoyed as much as we do. Let's get through some of this music, y'all. Like it or not, let's go.
Ghost, baby, ghost. You a demon and you should float. Get out the way and just go. And just go.
Alicia Aurora, good morning.
Float like a balloon, apple, empty bottle.
Lena L, love you too. Thank you for your super chat, Lena.
You killing me, homicide. Look at your lying eyes. I should have been better laced because I failed too many times. If money the root of evil and you call yourself a dime, you gotta be penny wise. You gotta be penny wise. You gotta be penny wise.
Seven, sweetheart, that's what's up. Glad to hear that. Y'all make sure that y'all drink plenty of water, okay? Good to see y'all getting that vaccine, y'all. Make sure that y'all get vaccinated, y'all. Do your research. Dr. S, yes.
Tell him I need my money right now.
Hey.
I need my money right now.
Speaking of money.
Ben.
Don't say nothing, Ben.
Don't say nothing on there.
Don't say Oh, nothing.
All right, I keep to myself.
You be telling these people too much about Ben then.
Look,
And
y'all,
then the feds be watching.
Jamming, and I didn't even know that y'all was back on the screen. I'm sorry.
Hey, welcome back to Like It or Not.
I'm sorry, y'all.
Well, we're
Hey,
free
yeah.
to tell the truth.
And not care who doesn't like it. Hey, put up those lions in the chat for Georgia Fort and for everybody who is out there protesting. Everybody, they're journalists, and then there are those of us who do media. I do media because I swear to God, every protest I've ever been at, calling myself covering it, I put my camera down and it does something to me, and I can't, like, they're professionals. Georgia's a professional, and she's covering it and she's putting herself on the line. And I'm amazed. I'm amazed at people who are able to do that and how she said catalog and journal this for the history of what's happening right now. Right. I can't do it. I just can't. So y'all put up those lions in the chat. And y'all make sure you go to georgiafort.com, follow her, support her. And any way that you can support her, make sure you support her because she's out there on the ground. And there's very few of us who are physically able to get there, first of all. And what's crazy, she's in the epicenter, Minnesota, Minneapolis. That's the damn epicenter of crazy stuff that's happening right now.
Yeah. And it's interesting, but I look at it more like this. I'm like, she's there and she's making it happen as a professional, as a journalist, but it's a difference between those who are, and whether they can get there, because you got some that can't be on the ground. But what the difference for me is your intentions. And, you know, you can be a professional all day and your intentions can still be just to, and you know that, okay, I'm not doing this story right. And I'm doing this story, you know, unbiasedly, yet I'm doing it, you know, in favor of a certain, you know, media company or person or whatever. She has the freedom right now. That's why she left mainstream media. And the fact that she chose to go out there and actually have a niche that is to help and to actually put out the true story and have a heart for this, it's a difference, because you got people that are out here as activists who are in the journalism world as well and don't have the true heart for this. And they just literally, there's nothing authentic about what they do. Like we've seen a lot of them in the media right now who their authenticity is being questioned because of a lot of the things that have come about from the fame that they've gotten from covering the deaths of, you know, the people who've been murdered by cops.
Speak on it.
I say, you know, I say that to say whether you're doing it, you know, even for you, Ben, you know, yes, you're in this media space. I'm in this media space as a journalist. Bubba's in this media space as a DJ, but our intentions are true. Every time we sit here every day and cover it for these people, we're doing those. Unfortunately, we don't get the chance to be out there, but we get to partner with people like with good hearts like Georgia Fort and bring them on here to share their experience, share the true story, and be the person on the ground. And then, you know what I mean? So it's like we're in assembly line. You know what I mean? And we're getting this thing going. And even for our look, you know how Black folks say everything little, our little videos on the internet, those will be forever and documented. And, you know, and it's going to be a part of history as well. So we all have a hand, a foot, an arm, an eye, a shoulder in this situation. And I don't think it works if we don't work together the way we do. But absolutely. You got to be true and intentional about the work.
Well, so here's a quick thing, though. And I mean, it's not the inflection in my voice said it was in opposition to what you're saying. It's not. I'm just continuing what you're saying. When you analyze the situation, the bottom line is we need a revolution in this country. That's the conclusion. And it has to be a revolution that's centered around Blackness because, well, we're the ones that are getting killed on a regular basis. And we're the ones where you look at the tape and be like, oh, you know, we didn't, you know, George Floyd died of a drug overdose, right? We're the ones that's being gaslit. We're the fact that this country absolutely just cannot get enough of killing Black people is literally the thing that's going to tear this country apart. And so as I was listening to Georgia, I'm listening to a person who's kind of coming to that conclusion in her mind, right? Like, because there's anybody who's been out there, anybody who's covered this, every one of us, we sit back and we're like, this is not going to change unless we change it. And that's the conversation the next conversation is like, well, who we got to tear down? What systems do we got to tear down? Who has to be replaced? Does the Senate need to be abolished? There's the conversation goes and escalates. And then you realize you have to take a step back because it's like the other group of people that you mentioned, Rebecca, those who are quote unquote professional, but they're professional gaslighters in media. And they're professional gaslighters on the television, and they're paid billions of dollars. Like these media companies make billions of dollars, and you know Tucker Carlson makes $7 million a year to gaslight us, and it's just so much money behind keeping the system exactly the way it is. But the only real solution is, honestly, this shit got to get torn down.
And it's so crazy, Ben. We talk about it getting torn down, but it's like, how, when, just us, you know, just us.
Exactly.
And it's like we tear it down and the media says that we're tearing down our cities, and then they bring out the mayors, and the mayors say we can't tear down our city. This is our city, and it's like,
but your city killing us, Keisha.
But yes, exactly. Miss Keisha Lance Bottoms, my fellow rattler, beautiful woman, strong Black woman. But when we're working for people and we don't want to lose our jobs, we know how this is. Even if working in working for a particular company that is white, and I knew that if I spoke up, I would lose my job if I didn't speak in the way they wanted me to. And I get that, I understand that, but sometimes Kamala Harris, sometimes Keisha Lance Bottoms, sometimes we got to go against the grain. We gotta. And I know that they've done that at times, but in these particular moments, the way that we stop them from killing us, especially when we're in these higher positions, I know it's really tough. And I know y'all come from me and say, well, she can't do this because of this or whatever. But her words are powerful, because when Keisha Lance Bottoms came out and saw us destroying things that were just material because they took a life from us, and a mother is mourning, children are mourning because they lost their parent. A community's mourning because they don't know if it's going to be their kid or their brother, father, sister, whoever next.
Yeah.
When you go out and say that we need to stop tearing up our city,
they'll do a goddamn news conference over a Dollar Tree. They'll send out the National Guard over the Dollar Tree.
Over a Dollar Tree.
But not over the killing of lives.
No. And that's why they'll go ahead and use all the money and protection to cover a murderer's home, to protect the murderer's home, but not even go and try to protect us on these streets. This is what I'm telling you. So when we go out and, or when the protesters go out and when they shut stuff down, I don't care if it's looting, if it's whatever you want to call it, to me, that is minuscule to the lives that you've taken. That we can never, ever, ever, ever put a price tag on the lives that you guys have taken. And the sad part about it is we know that this won't be it. So when you guys tell us to stop tearing up the cities, that's the only way that we can respond. That's our anger. And like y'all want to say, I had a dream that white folks and Black folks get together. But Martin Luther King also said the riot is the unheard. What was it?
The voices of the unheard.
The voices of the unheard. And that to me makes more sense. So when you guys look at a riot, it's re-envision that.
A riot. Re-envision a riot.
Exactly. Instead of the police officers, these murderers that are killing people every day. And we have to understand, police officers kill Black people at, of course, a higher rate, but they ain't only killing Black folks now. They killing everybody because they think that their authority is above everybody. So, let's just make that clear. So when we say abolish the police, you know what I mean? When we're saying defund the police, that's not just for Black people. That's for everybody. That's for everybody.
Yeah.
So,
and I don't think people understand that. Like, really, y'all, I'm like, when we say that, white folk, y'all got to understand they out here for y'all ass too.
For real.
Or because they own us like that.
Yeah.
But y'all out here getting murked too. So please believe, man, y'all need to really look at this crap because it makes no sense what they're doing.
None.
But Kelvin Ward sent the super chat. White folks have fought the integration of Black folk through Jim Crow, the Black laws, redlining since Emancipation Proclamation.
That's it. I mean, and man, y'all gonna mess around and destroy this country because y'all can't get enough of killing us. Okay. And we might just be on the other side and just give you what you're asking for. Because we ain't going, what you expect us to just sit around and see, not all white folks, and I know we got a lot of white folks who listen and watch, and God bless you, and we appreciate your support. But y'all cousins and them sit around and allow the police to kill their family members, and they don't come out and protest the way we do.
Yeah,
that's not a reflection of us. That says a lot about y'all. Like, because the way Daniel Shaver was gunned down in that hotel lobby, I swear to God, everybody and their mama should have been out in the streets tearing this country apart because that man, and the fact that that man did not go to jail. He was able to execute Daniel Shaver in the hotel lobby while he was on his hands and knees crying for his life. Mm-hmm. And white folks want to say, oh, well, you don't see us. Yeah, that speaks more about how you don't care about human life. Mm-hmm. So don't look at us when we protest. Look at y'all and ask yourself. And here's the answer. The reason why they won't protest is because they know ultimately this system serves them. because we saw it serve them on January 6th. If they have to sacrifice, if they have to sacrifice, let's say 1,000 white people a year in order to have a system that will allow them to march up the steps of the Capitol with impunity and just destroy the Capitol, then they think that they're winning. So it's an exchange. It is. They are willing to pay the price of, let's say 1,500 white people get killed by the police in 2021. They don't care because they got to go to the Capitol and ransack the Capitol, and nobody's doing anything about it with the exception of a few people getting arrested by the FBI. So in their mind, they're winning.
Yep. And I mean, and speaking of people not doing anything about stuff, because this seems, because, as you and Georgia Fort were speaking and saying, these things are getting overshadowed. You have the Daunte Wright case overshadowing the Derek Chauvin trial, or the Daunte Wright murder. And there are other murders that happened literally days apart from the Daunte Wright murder. One here in Georgia, Matthew Zadok Williams, age 35. He was killed inside his home in DeKalb County, Georgia, in the late afternoon on Wednesday by two police officers who claimed that he lunged at them with a knife twice. Williams' mother and sisters, however, said that Matthew was the kind of person who had never been in a fist fight and wouldn't even kill insects or bugs that he found in the house. They are urging the police to release body cam footage of the incident. The department did not make the video available Wednesday when asked by the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. Police refused, citing an ongoing investigation. Attorney Mawuli Davis, who was representing Williams' family, said, quote, based on what we're hearing, whatever happened is very, very different from what police are reporting. We are in a time in our history as a country and a state where we can no longer hide behind open investigations. If there is a body camera footage, it has to be released immediately so that this family can see, so that the world can know what the truth is. Excuse me. According to his sister, Mr. Williams, his only run-ins with the police were for traffic violations. Let's take a look at Mr. Williams's mother describing the incident.
Son was murdered last night by the DeKalb County Police. My son was murdered in his own home. He was running from the police while they were shooting at him. He jumped through his window. I talked to plenty of people out there who witnessed what happened. It's a case of mistaken identity. There was a report called on two men that were out there. My son happened to turn the corner with a bucket in his hand, and the police started shooting at him. And he ran. He jumped on top of his storage room through his window in a home that he owns, he's paying taxes on. And when I look at the front door, I could see where he was shot through the door, and there's blood on the floor in the door in his own home where my son laid and died.
So a GoFundMe has been set up for the family. And this is the thing. And if we could have that GoFundMe link up, that'll be great for people to see it. Yeah. But
fuck the police.
Yes, that and that.
Every single one of them.
And with this particular story though, Ben, when I searched for it, I couldn't find much on it, y'all.
I haven't heard anything about this at all.
Nothing. When you search for it, when you type, I literally looked for articles on this story, and you really have to put his whole name in because they're going with Zadok, because that's what they called him. And when you search up Matthew Zadok, a Bible verse may come up. Those kind of things will come up in the Twitter search. But you have to put his whole name in, and that's how you get more information. And I think that worked in the benefit of the police officers as they were trying to put out statements. And there was a statement that was put out by police officers that I did drop in the chat. But while I look for that, with that particular story, I tried to research and get more and more on it. I found that one of the people on Twitter, there'll be better investigators than the police department or the feds themselves. So somebody went, and I think this is accessible to the radios that were going on during the time of this incident, and they were on the calls or on the radios. He did the timeline, And basically it started somewhere around 4 or 5 p.m. And there could be heard that the police officer is calling and saying something happened, back up, or, we need backup. Somebody's wielding a knife, something like that. Then another police officer calls in with the traffic information, and they're like basically telling them to get the hell out of our radio. There's something happening right now. And I say this because it's important when you listen to it. At first, I'm like, this is just a bunch of nothing. But when the guy is breaking it down in the Twitter thread, and he has the timestamps, and you can listen to the radio yourself, basically showing that there was something that happened, and they were speaking in code. The two officers were speaking in code. And then they said they got to the door of this home. There was a man that jumped in through the window of his home. And they confirmed somewhere in there that this man jumped into the window of his home. He was probably so scared that running away and getting to his home, he jumped into the window of his own home, y'all. His own home. Why is he breaking into his own home? You know what I mean? So he was in the house, and the police officer ends up shooting. Then from that moment on, they never called for an ambulance. It was hours before he wanted to speak to the detective. The detective told him to say it on the radio first.
Yeah.
And then to contact him.
Yeah.
And after that. And then all of that, they never got him any assistance for hours.
Because they know it's easier to get off with killing a black man than leaving that person alive.
Exactly. And he needed to get assistance and what to do. That's why calling the detective was the right thing to do. But to say it, because they're following protocol, to say it over the radio and then have that independent conversation with them. Yeah. So there's so many holes in the story. And if the family says, this is my son, then they know they son and their brother. Every single family member was like, that's not like him to be wielding a knife. And at the end of the day, I'll say this, if he was wielding a knife because of a manic episode or a breakdown or whatever, even though that the family said that's not the case, then that shouldn't have even been the situation, him breaking into his home and you guys shooting him through the door.
Yeah.
So all of that to say, they will definitely try their best to cover up a story, get away with it. Even when we said, give us body cams, even when we said, give tasers, even when we said all of that, make sure we record all the radios, even when we have all of that in place, they will find ways to make sure that they're protecting each other. And this poor man, Matthew Zadok Williams, lost his life because if it was a case of mistaken identity, that's ridiculous. But in the police report that was put out, they said basically, then this came from the DeKalb County Police Department. They put this, they said that DeKalb County on April 12th, approximately at 6 p.m., responded to a call about a man aggressively wielding a knife on the 2500 block of Terrace Trail. Upon arrival, officers located the male who was still in possession of the knife. Once contact was made, he lunged at officers with the knife. Listen, this is their words. It says he lunged at officers with the knife, causing one of them to discharge their firearm. They used this verbiage, causing that this man with a knife caused one of them to discharge their firearm, as if he walked up to them, took out the firearm, and made him do it. And then they said it was unknown if the male was struck at this time as he fled into a vacant residence. The residence was his own, you guys. Attempts to make contact with him were made, resulting in him lunging at the officers with the knife again, causing officer to discharge his firearm again. The male went back into the residence. Subsequent investigation led to the discovery of the male deceased inside the residence. No officers were injured. The GBI is handling this investigation.
Some of them should have been.
None of the information was available. Why I wanted to read that was because that was before a lot of the information, the radio, the person on Twitter who did the breakdown of what was happening. So their 6 p.m. does not tie in with the fact that around 5 or 4 p.m. there was a call that was made. They're saying at 6 p.m. You see how they can definitely change the narrative, because they know that this official statement will be the one read on mainstream media. And that's what will be what they go with. Local media actually took the story and said a shooting that happened overnight. So all of this, the whole story is messed up, and it's a lie. And I really hope that this man gets the justice he deserves. But this may very well be the only place you hear about this story. It may be brushed under the rug. We don't know, but I wanted it to make it my duty to definitely talk about this man because I've seen it a few times, but just because I've seen it a few times doesn't mean that this will go anywhere. And hopefully from us covering it, it'll go somewhere. Somebody might, because the investigators think that this is going to blow over. And sometimes, you guys, most times, usually it does. These kind of cases blow over. And I want to make sure that we keep all these police officers and these investigators and mainstream media's feet to the fire when it comes to, first of all, them murdering us, because we don't ever want them to think that they can continue to get away with this shit. We do not want them to ever think that. So burning it down virtually, burning it down physically, burning it down as best as we can, that's what we're going to do. And we're going to make sure that each of these, DeKalb County needs to be put accountable. They need to be in DeKalb County taking up the streets too. They need to be, this needs to be on people's, we need to be hashtagging.
That's what I'm going to tell y'all.
Go ahead.
DeKalb County, and that's what I was going to say. DeKalb County is the blackest county in Atlanta. I know they're trying to cover this up, and it's probably a reason because they know that. So I hope DeKalb County does what the hell they need to do and do this right, because I know they're not trying to be in the news. So that's why that's why I think they're trying to do all this, because they know DeKalb County has been one of the better counties in Atlanta. So for this to happen, they better come correct real quick. Normally
but there's no way of coming correct. They already came. They already messed up.
Looking at that statement, y'all messed up big time. Like, that's some bullshit.
Yeah,
you dropped a bogus ass statement.
Yeah, so the only thing, that's a bogus statement, and that's what's killing me. I guess that's why I'm so shaken about this, because when I was searching, you guys, I was searching. And I'm like, why am I not getting information? Even when I put it into Google, why am I not getting information on this man? They literally want it to disappear, and they will make it disappear. They put that statement out to be the statement. And this happened a few days ago. So, and when I started to research the things that was coming up, things ain't aligning. If that's his home and he was shot through his door and he laid on the floor in front of his door, an ambulance did not come to him, and these police officers were communicating with each other outside of radios, and the time frames do not match up, give this man his justice. Say his name. Say his name. And that's at least what we could do.
That mother, having to have the composure and the very next day come out and tell the story of her son being murdered. How many times have Black parents have had to have the strength to show up the next day and fight on behalf of their children who were killed by police? I'm just thinking about that clip because, and actually, I don't even, Tunde, could you cue up the clip again? And it's not to put her pain on the stream, but it is for us to understand that there's a level of strength that they are having to tap into just so that they can get a modicum of justice for their family members. And it's on repeat across this country. On repeat. Dante Wright's mother, she had to do it Monday, Tuesday. It happened Sunday. So Monday morning she had to do it. The same exact afternoon.
Yes.
While her son's body was in the street, she had to have the strength to look at the police officers and say, could you get my son's body off the street? Because he's been in the street since 1:47 in the afternoon.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's just really
play the clip again, because I just want y'all to see. I just want y'all to see it again. Look at the clip from this mother.
My son was murdered last night by DeKalb County Police. My son was murdered in his own home. He was running from the police while they were shooting at him. He jumped through his window. I talked to plenty of people out there who witnessed what happened. It's a case of mistaken identity. There was a report called on 2 men that were out there. My son happened to turn the corner with a bucket in his hand, and the police started shooting at him. And he ran. He jumped on top of his storage room through his window in a home that he owns, he's paying taxes on. And died. Son was murdered last night by the cab.
His home, where he pays taxes.
Yeah,
and she had to go. Too. She had to go and look at the bullets that went through the door and her son's blood on the ground.
Yep.
And we got an entire media infrastructure, political infrastructure that is designed specifically to tell us, oh, he earned that. See, this is why I can't do this. This is why I can't play around with this system, because this system really deserves to not exist anymore. Right? A system that can brutalize its people like this and then gaslight us in our attempt to get justice and then send out the troops out in Minneapolis and Brooklyn Center and fight us like they're at war with us. They are at war. They are at war with us. They are. And they have been since this country started. And the only appropriate response, quite honestly, is for us to go to war with them back, but they got more guns.
Yep. And honestly, this system, like you said, was we always say it was created, and it works just the way it was created to work, and that's against us. And then when I say us, it's specifically Black people in America, and people of color in America. It was definitely built to make sure that we will always be targets when it comes to authority, especially police officers. Anything that a white person may say or anything that somebody may say against a Black person, it's going to be first to believe that the Black person is wrong. And it goes to an extreme level. And that extreme level is to just shoot. Don't ask questions, just shoot. If we see a Black person, they always fit the description, no matter what. They can storm into a household while a woman is sleeping, shoot her up, and then say, it was the wrong home. And sleep at night for days after, for weeks after.
And they feel good about themselves. Like they know these pigs. Oh, there's always a word. I forgot about that. These pigs will kill us and go back home and think that they did a good job and wonder why we are upset. We're going to show y'all why we're upset. We're going to show y'all. Y'all going to fuck around and find out that there are not many Black people who got as much patience as I do. There's a lot more. And see, and actually, James and Rebecca, I actually want y'all to take on this, because I think one of the reasons a lot of people disconnect from politics is because they ain't got as much patience for the gaslighting bullshit that happens in the political world and in the police world. Like, I think a lot of us have to take a step back and say, you know what, I'm just going to go over here and get my bag, because if I actually pay attention, I'll wind up getting myself killed. That's what I'm thinking. Because I think a lot of people have to assuage their minds and pay attention to pop culture, because if they turn their attention to what's happening in America for real, man, they'll be in jail. They'll be dead. That's just my thought.
That's actually facts, Ben, because the way I feel, I told y'all, I'm not heavy in the political game. I didn't start doing a lot of politics shit. I would follow along because my dad and my mom would, but I would follow along every other day to see what was going on. But when I got deeper involved in it, you get tired of it. And it's just like, it's a bunch of bullshit. You get upset and angry because you expect the people that's supposed to run this country to do certain things, and those things aren't getting done. Then you start paying attention more to it. It will lead you down a rabbit hole that I think a lot of people don't want to go to. And I really think that's why a lot of our brothers and sisters don't follow politics like that and don't do certain things, because for one, I think a lot of us don't know what's going on. And then once they do start figuring out and realizing it, then it goes, like I said, a whole other rabbit hole.
Because here's one quick thing about that is, like, going down that rabbit hole, you can't go down that rabbit hole by yourself. I was talking to some young revolutionaries last summer. And my only advice, like, if you are a revolutionary, cool. Don't be a revolutionary of one, because that's how the system picks us off, one at a time, one at a time. And you got a lot of people who get so frustrated at what's going on, rightfully so, or they should be frustrated, that they'll go out there and they'll take on the system by themselves. And America's more than capable of taking down that one person. Hell, America's more than capable of taking down an entire nation. We're fighting against a machine that we can't win against through violence. As much as I want, personally, to return eye for an eye to what this country has done to us, this country is so ready. That's what they want. They want to be able to crush us with violence because they have a fetish for violence. Like, they get off on violence. They get off on murder. They love it. They revel in it. It is born. This country was born in it. And then it just begs the question, what are we going to do? Because they even get our politicians. Part of me can't stand elected officials, black elected officials, because they become servants of the system, not servants of the people. Barack Obama was a servant of the system, not the people. Keisha Lance Bottoms is a servant of the system. She's not a servant of the people. But what the hell do I expect them to do? Go in there and change the world by themselves when we're not unified. We don't have what we need presently to fight against this evil country that we are living in. And so they continue to kill us. And we continue to be back here every week with a brand new story of how the police state has killed somebody else. I don't have a solution for you this morning other than to say, don't go out there by yourself, because the country is waiting to pick you off one at a time. That's the only advice I can give you.
And I'll say, yeah, don't go out there by yourself and, in the streets. But it's good to know that sometimes when you think you're by yourself, you're really not. Thank God that, Representative Renita Shannon was the one that shared that story, and that's how I seen it. And I tried to search for it and things like that. So shout out to Representative Renita Shannon for definitely elevating that mother's voice, and that, that mother's having to put out her strength in the story of her son, so that it is not, thrown under the rug and let the police officers dictate that. But there is camaraderie sometimes when we think we don't have it. So on Tuesday, a video went viral of Sergeant Jonathan Pentland, a Fort Jackson, South Carolina soldier, harassing a young black man walking through the Summit neighborhood. Now, this is a warning to viewers that the confrontation in this video may be triggering. Let's take a look.
Go away right now. Call the police.
Hey, they've already been called. They're just waiting. You know what? Maybe you should hang on a little longer. We'll see how it goes. Then we won't have to get the report by ourselves.
What is it you're doing here? Walking. Then walk. Okay, and that's what I was doing. She came out of the house.
Well, you've been here like 15 minutes now.
Let's go. Walk away.
Keep walking.
Walk away. I already walked away. Walk away right now. You need help? You got this, I'm coming. I'm happy to help you. I didn't hit you. There's a difference between pushing
you were the aggressor, buddy.
You're aggressive on the neighborhood.
Someone came running. Walk back.
You better walk away. You walk away. You talking to my wife right now.
That's your wife?
Walk away.
I didn't do
walk away.
Your wife to speak.
Check it out. You either walk away or I'm going to carry your ass out of here.
Dude,
what do you want to do?
You better not touch me.
Or what? What are you going to do?
You up on me.
Let's go. Walk away.
I didn't do anything.
I'm about to do something to you. You better start walking.
Her. I didn't do anything to her.
You better start walking right now.
You come after me like that?
I ain't coming after you. You're in the wrong neighborhood, motherfucker. Get out. Get out.
I live here, sir.
Where? Where's your house? What's your address?
Maybe we should walk you home. Walk me home?
Oh, you bet. You want to bet what I can do?
I live here, sir. Okay,
right now you're harassing the neighborhood.
I'm not harassing anyone walking through the neighborhood I live in, sir.
Where? Check it out. We are a tight-knit community. Okay. We take care of each other.
How long?
Hell of a lot longer than your ass, because I have never seen you before in my life.
How long have you been living here?
That's
Why
none of
does
your
that even
business.
matter to you?
How long have you been living here?
Doesn't matter. You know what? Get the hell out of my face. Get out of my face.
You walked up to me.
Check it out, motherfucker. I ain't playing with you. You either get your ass moving or I'm going to move you.
You smell drunk.
You want to bet?
You are drunk.
I'm about to show you what I can do.
I would suggest
You better walk away. Walk away. Walk away.
I'm walking. You keep following me, sir.
There's only one way out of here. It's right over there.
There's multiple ways out of here, sir.
You want to bet? Walk away.
This video was posted on Facebook originally by Cheryl Johnson. According to the original post, Sergeant Pentland smacked the man's hand and broke his phone after the video ended. Sergeant Pentland, the skinhead we see in that video, was later arrested and charged with third-degree assault, according to a press conference from Richland County Sheriff Leon Lott. Here's a little bit of that.
So I appreciate y'all being patient. I want to initially announce that at 8:30 this morning, Jonathan Pentland was arrested for assault and battery third degree in reference to the video that we've all seen. It's a very disturbing video. It's one that we're not going to tolerate or condone in Richland County. And the message I want to give is that when something like that happens, the Sheriff's Department is going to act very swiftly, and we're going to hold those responsible for those accountable. We're not going to let people be bullies in our community. And if you are, then you're going to answer for it. And that's what we've done in this case. This case first came to our attention on Monday when our deputies responded and took initial reports. They did a good job at that point because they didn't rush to make judgments. They took the information and it was passed to our investigators. Our investigators got it yesterday, but one of the most valuable pieces of evidence we had was the video. I want to thank whoever was responsible for that video. Thank you for doing that. That shows what our community can do when we work together. Taking videos, reporting stuff to us. Our initial call came from a citizen that lived in that community who saw the confrontation and called the Sheriff's Department and reported it to us. That's what we ask our citizens to do. When there's something going on in the community, call, let us respond so we can get involved and we can take care of it. I am not going to identify the young man that was the victim in this case. There's reasons for doing that just don't need to be talked about. He was a victim, and we're addressing him as a victim. Again, he was arrested at 8:30 this morning. He was booked into the Richland County Detention Center. I don't know if he's had a bond hearing or not, but he'll appear in front of a bond hearing at the normal time. No special considerations were given whatsoever. It was terrible. The first time I saw the video, it was terrible. It was unnecessary. It was a bad video. The young man was a victim. The individual that we was arrested was the aggressor, and he's been dealt with accordingly.
So I'll say this. It's funny that he was saying that he was a victim and that, that's what community looks like. Actually, community looks like this. So before the charges were announced at the 5 p.m. news conference, the protesters gathered in the Summit neighborhood where the assault took place Monday. They remained there late into the evening, as seen in the pictures we'll show on the screen in a moment. Okay, so the man being accosted in the video lived close by in the Summit of Columbia, South Carolina, and he walked in that neighborhood before. So can we put those photos up if we don't have them already? Of the people who are protesting, the people who are there in the videos, like just to see this. This looks like the community. This is what's in front of that man's house, that sergeant's house. So when we hear the officer speaking, it's funny because it seems like they've never had to be put in that position where they had to speak against somebody because of a video and protect a Black person, saying, he was the victim. He was the victim. He was the victim. It was new for him to say that the young Black man or a Black person that was doing that thing, minding their business, was a victim because there was video. And so, this is what community looks like. That's what community looks like. I was hoping you
had that video. Do we have the video?
Which video is that?
Yes, that's what we need is that video. If you can drop the link, if we can get it as quick as possible, that would be great. But this is what community looks like. And I just wanted to point that out there. Yes, there was a comment made from Fort Jackson Commander General Milford Beagle. Jr., and that was posted on Facebook. And he basically was saying that they in no way condone the behavior that was in the video of that young Black man being harassed. And he's saying they are going to do an investigation.
He gonna lose everything.
And then they say that they're deeply concerned for the members of the Army family, the young man and his family. So my thing is, we don't need no concern for that man's family. Clearly, we've seen what that man's family in relation to his family, his wife, and the people around him, how they view Black.
Was he talking about the white man's family?
It looks like he said the Army's family. Who else would it be?
Oh, he's talking about he's talking about the overall Army boy. Because man,
why
shut your
are they
mouth.
hurt? So my thing is, why are they hurt? Like, is it because of one of your own? They took off the hood, you know.
They
but it's
trained to be like
2021.
this.
They out here. They've been doing it. Now they walking out here for free, thinking it's okay to be like that. But they didn't know that. And that young boy.
I give him his. I get that young man his props though. And let me tell you why. Because he, as small as he was, he stood. He stared at that racist piece of shit face to face and held his ground. He should not have had to do that, but damn it, he did, man. And so I like because the guy is in the military. And that's where Beagle, the officer, he jumped in because everybody on Twitter, that's the other community that got involved. Twitter got involved so quick and got it all the way to the top of the military. And this dude is going to get a dishonorable discharge. I can guarantee you that at this point. So it wasn't the community that cop was talking about. See, exactly. It's not even just the community that the police officer was talking about in that press conference. It was the Black community that you pointed out, Rebecca, that came out. And it was also social media who was like, absolutely not. We're not going to let this man get away with that. They found his address, they found his name, and they found out he was in the military, tagged the military, and the military responded within a few minutes. So, and
the first to show up actually to the home, it was just a few Black women. About, come out the house.
They pulled up.
Come out the house. Let me tell you something. One thing about Black women, they are going to pull up, especially a young Black man. And Ben, you said that you more power to him because he stood there, but he actually knew he could not put his hands on that white man, especially because it was being videotaped. I think he was just being smart because he told him. He knew because he told him literally on camera. He said, "If you put your hands on me." Because he knew at that point, now I'm going to work you. I'm going to try. I'm going to do something then. But he told him multiple times, like, you're pushing me. You're putting your hands on me. And that man threatened him and said something like, I'll hit you or I'll do whatever. And he did hit him. But after that, he told him, if you put your hands on me again, like this is being recorded. Don't play with me. Touch me. Touch me. That's what he told him. So go ahead. We
got that clip of the James sit-in. That's right.
At this point, come on. We want to talk to you. We just want to talk.
Yeah, know it.
It does.
That's it. No justice, no peace. What you gonna do? You gonna stay in here every day?
I love it. I love it.
And he has since been arrested. I don't know if he's been let out, but the last
there's a mugshot of him floating around.
He was arrested because of the investigation. They brought him in for arrest, but he was home that day. They pulled up on him because that was like they were like, oh no, we're pulling up because that ain't right, and we're not gonna. That's why I say sometimes we think we're alone on this. That's why I don't want Zadok's family or Matthew Zadok Williams' mother or family to think that she's alone. We're in Georgia. We're going to do what we can to put that news out there. Again, shout out to Representative Renita Shannon, who's been on our show before, and for her to have reposted that, and the fact that I saw it and the fact that I brought it here. I'm talking about it's a whole assembly line. We are going to make sure we protect our own when the people who are set in place to protect and serve us look at us and think that we're the enemy. They do target practice with our bodies. So we will make sure we protect our own and make sure that people like that skinhead, that Nazi that lives in that neighborhood that believed that that could not fathom the fact that a young Black man lived in that neighborhood and only wanted to walk the street in that area that he's walked before. They felt like he didn't belong there. And that's exactly what they told him. Well, let me tell you something. We're moving into your cities. We're moving into your neighborhoods every time you take one of ours, and we are going to infiltrate your shit. We're definitely going to do that. And we're going to make sure that any person that you harass, let that be our kid, not our kid, whoever, our sister, our brothers, we're going to make sure we put you on blast and that we are not to be played with. Okay.
Got a dog?
Some of us conceal and some of us conceal and carry. Some of us don't. Some of us will pull
that boy
up.
wasn't carrying.
Some of us will pull up like mamas for their sons, and you know it ain't nothing like a mama for her son. Okay, so don't play. Don't play. Not in this season. We'll either burn it down. We're pulling up. Something's gonna happen.
Tunde, grab that picture that I just put. Let me know when you got it, because I want to make sure, because he was all big, bad, and bold in this video. I want everybody to see how he looked when he was charged. And that is Staff Sergeant Jonathan Pentland, 42-year-old from South Carolina. He has been arrested. And I mean, yeah, I just want everybody to see this coward. There you go on the screen now. You ain't looking too happy now.
I told you he gives skinhead vibes. He gives Nazi vibes. He gets like Nazi leader
Guarantee
vibes.
you, check his shoulders. He got some tattoos on him that show you exactly what he believes. Yep.
Either the American flag, because to me that's definitely
Staff Sergeant Jonathan Pentland.
And he's a staff sergeant, so that means he was a total dick in the military.
But but are we shocked? Because these people are coming up in they're in leadership positions, you guys. They're in leadership positions, and in army forces and police departments, and they're supposed to be, like I said, the ones that protect us. But they look at people of color, especially this guy. He looks at people of color and automatically thinks, he needs to act like he's overseas, how they treat, because you know how our army treats people overseas anyway. And just come out here and definitely treat them like a target. You are in your neighborhood. You got on no shoes. You are, and he's in his neighborhood taking a walk. And you acting like he's acting like George Zimmerman. And if that woman wasn't there, it would have possibly been another Trayvon Martin situation out there.
Yeah.
Please understand. These people come out here and think that they're the neighborhood watch person. They make themselves a neighborhood watch.
He said that. He said as much. He was like, I don't recognize you. Who cares what you recognize? This ain't you don't own the entire goddamn neighborhood. And even if you did, this ain't a sundown town where you as a black person, you can't be out past the sun being down. But this is what he's trying to implement with it. So yeah, you know what? He just better, and I'm thinking like he better be glad this brother wasn't concealed carrying, right? But at the same time, that young black man, we could have had the entire ass video of him being assaulted by that white man. He could have pulled his gun and shot that man, rightfully so, to self-defense, and that young black man probably going to jail, because that's how our system works. That's how our system works.
They would have found every issue and said that he pulled out his gun, no matter what, no matter how right he did it, nothing. He would have went to jail, and a mother would have been possibly mourning. His mom is probably mourning the situation, watching him. She could have possibly, thank God it didn't get down like that. She could have been mourning, the fact that he could have lost his life that day, or the fact that he went to jail for protecting himself. Either way, it's never going to be a win situation. But one thing about it, I'm so happy that we came out as a community. And when I say we, I'm talking about black folks. We came out as a community to protect that young man. And for these people to think that we have no place and we have no authority and we have no right is ridiculous. That man asked that young man, where do you live? What are you doing? Why are you here? And then when he questioned him, how long have you been living here? It's almost like, Ben, when white folks say, go back to your country, and you say, well, how long did your lineage last here, sir? Because I'm pretty sure I can circle mine back further than
James.
You already know what I'm about to say, Ben, don't you?
Read that, man. Yeah, read that.
Oh, damn, where to go?
It went this.
Brand Barbs, not to mention records show he bought the house only 10 fucking months ago.
So Staff Sergeant Pentland don't know his neighbor. Because you new to the neighborhood. They have a
very tight-knit community. You just moved the fuck in.
You just moved in, yo dumbass.
Yep.
Racist ass racist.
Not racist ass racist.
Ass racist.
This is why we done covered four situations today. George Floyd, because the Chauvin trial, right? Then we had to go into Dante Wright.
Yep.
Then we had to tackle because we couldn't let the day pass without tackling Matthew Zadok Williams, who was shot by police officers, wrongfully shot by police officers who are alleging that he was wielding a knife. And now we're here with the harassment situation.
In South Carolina.
Black folks can't get it right. And you know, my best friend just texted me that Black folks need a break this week, which is very true. I mean, and then on top of that, we had to talk to our sister, George Ford, who was just telling us how she, you know, was tear gassed and shot in the ankle, in the leg by a rubber bullet. And those rubber bullets are supposed to be, they're not lethal, but they out here fracturing folks, right?
Like people have lost eyes.
We're literally having to cover all of this on today, because I think that, you know, I know that we tried to steer away from being fully on this, but no, it's very important that we cover it. And then yes, we do need a break, but look at this, you guys. This is our day to day. This is not just, we're not covering this because we're covering these few stories because we got to make sure that, okay, these get the light that they need. We can't let these things go under the radar, but I need you guys to understand this is daily. Every single day. I can guarantee you every situation that we just covered right now is going to happen tomorrow, the day after, and the day after that, because this is constantly happening. This is constantly happening to us. And that's why it's important that we cover it, but also try to stay sane at the same time. And I don't know how possible that is. We had to watch a mother gather strength during her time of pain, the day after her son died, to talk about getting him justice. Do you guys think that's normal? Because this should not be normal.
It's normal in this country. That's the part, Rebecca. That's the part that people don't realize. It's a powder keg. It's a powder keg. There's only so much that the collective body, Black folks can only take so much. And it's in our face every single day. And they think that, oh, well, you shouldn't just have all these videos or don't believe the videos. But no. We understand what we see. We literally understand what we see, and we understand what's going on. And even to make the matters worse, I just gonna make everybody mad all over again. The fact that those racist, white supremacist pieces of shit, deplorables, marched up the steps of the Capitol and nobody did anything to them like they're doing to the people in Brooklyn Center right now. The fact that is happening in our faces real time is something that is literally going to break every single person who had patience with this country. We're going to let loose on this country. And it don't mean we're going to win, but it means America is going to lose. And if y'all keep messing around with us, you're going to see that it's not any superpower outside of America. It ain't going to be Russia. It ain't going to be China. It ain't going to be no other country that destroys this country. It's going to be us from within, because y'all keep messing with us and you just can't get enough of killing us. And you're going to see real in short order exactly how this empire falls. And it's going to fall because y'all prioritize white supremacy. You protect white supremacy. You promote white supremacy. All right. Keep fucking around and finding out.
Ben, yesterday you said something. You were like, white folks are like, why they got to protest when we don't even protest when our own die? You know, why are they protesting in the street? First of all, like we mentioned yesterday, and y'all could Google it, y'all could find it wherever. Black people definitely get murdered at a higher rate. Literally, we walk outside, we get shot down. I enter the door, I get shot down. I'm sleeping in bed, you get shot down. This is what's happening. You pull over into a parking lot and into a damn gas station, you may get shot down in front of people. But it's funny that you say that, because the woman that got shot at the Capitol, the officer will not be charged. And I was thinking, oh, are these people about to take to the streets? Because weren't they just saying that, oh my God, she died for the country and da-da-da-da-da, right? Even though she literally was trespassing. As the officer told her, stand down, get out of there, move. She continued her way.
And he warned her. He said, if you come through this door, I'm going to shoot you.
He warned her and he told her. Right. And I don't know what's going to happen with that. But let me tell you, for hours, we're going to fight for hours. Y'all could worry about that one white lady that was doing wrong. But the people that y'all keep killing and y'all murder, the people that are not out there looking for trouble, the people that are out there doing what they got to do sometimes to eat, to feed their family, people who are out there just literally, we can't do anything without y'all murdering us. And God forbid, don't let us live like Jacob Clark, was it?
Oh, Jacob Blake.
Jacob Blake, excuse me. Like him, who was shot in the back and lived. And while he was paralyzed, being asked questions while he's in the hospital, bullets ain't even out his back. They got him literally chained to the bed.
Yep.
In cuffs. In cuffs. A man who was shot in front of his children. God forbid you live, you're still going to be treated like trash.
And you know why
like
you
your life
said
doesn't
Clark?
matter.
You know why you said Clark? Because we had to
Because
cover the Stephon Clark. Yep.
Mm-hmm. And speak to his brother, Stephen Clark, who definitely had, who had a lot of pain from that situation, mentally, physically, just a lot. So yeah, we've been covering this stuff for a while, and I don't think y'all understand when we say we need to take breaks from this. It's because our mental literally has to. Just in today's show alone, what is it today? Thursday?
Yeah.
Like we're on Thursday, and we've been talking about this every single day this week, and we've tried to inject some bit of joy. And y'all get y'all little attitudes because we want to go to somewhere else because we know we got to deal with the rest of our day because tomorrow we got to deal with this again.
Oh yeah.
So this is why we do it, you guys. This is why we do it. But today we literally just focus on all of that, and that's not even a scratch on the surface.
I don't even think I could list all the police shootings that we've covered.
We can't. We've done a lot in the past. What was it like?
Just the 4 years that we've been doing it together, 6 years that I've been doing it. I can see all of them in my head though. I can see them all in my head, especially when there's video. You remember them all. Like I remember Stephon Clark, where he was running in his backyard, and they had an infrared camera video of him. You saw his body fall down. There's a cat out of Indianapolis. I can't even remember his name. I see the video of him. He had on a white T-shirt running on a sidewalk, and this volunteer cop. He wasn't even a real cop. It was a volunteer cop. Killed him. Right. I'm just thinking about all the videos that we got on replay in our head over and over and over again. Thing to me that really gets me, I'm going to say it again, because this is the thing that's going to destroy this country. This is the thing that's going to, because they just can't stop killing us. They get a twisted sense of joy every time one of us is killed.
Mm-hmm.
They do. These white supremacist fascists, they get a sense of joy. You got Steven Crowder, who, if I was as close to death as he is, because he's got a bad heart, you got him making fun of George Floyd, reenacting it, trying to prove a point, but he couldn't really reenact it, right? The guy, the fake cop that was on Steven Crowder's back, on his neck, didn't put his real weight on. But he made fun of it. This dude is 2 steps from the grave because he got a bad heart. TikTok, Steven Crowder. But they get joy. I'm going to get joy. Oh, boy, God, if you don't let me live long enough, just let me live long enough to see Steven Crowder not live anymore.
Or God, just please let Ben live long enough to make sure he sees his kids grow old.
Yes. I appreciate
what
that.
I'm saying, as
but
these
people are
crazy,
evil.
They'll try to take you out before you can watch it. They're taking these people out before they can start families or before their kids can watch them grow old. They don't care. They don't care. And then when something happens to one of them or their damn dog, that gets more media attention. I literally saw a white woman crying over a snake that almost had 1 million views on it. 1 million views on it. But Matthew Zadok Williams literally can't even get a mention in the search bar. Come on now, y'all.
Matter of fact, let's do this. We have 674 people watching, and I would say at least 500 of you are here in good faith. I need you to go to Twitter and let's get the right spelling in the chat room for Matthew Zadok. And we need to make sure we get his name on Twitter. Let's get it. Let's get his name resurrected there on Twitter because and I would say trending, but we're gonna need about 10,000 people to get it trending. But we can make sure that when people search for it, that it at least comes up. I'm dropping it now in the chat room. # Matthew Zadok.
Matthew Zadok Williams, because when you hashtag Matthew Zadok, the Bible comes up. Verses from the Bible.
Jesus Christ.
Yes. So it just says if his full names. I know it's Justice for Zadok, but let's get his full name in there because I think that's how the investigators were able to create their lie because nobody was really understanding the story or knowing what it was. So yeah, today was a day. And sorry, Ben, I'm not going to be here on the show tomorrow for work, and then after work I'm traveling after work. So just wanted to let you know that I'm sorry to have to spring that on you right now.
Tell me on air.
He's looking like, girl. So I had to tell you on air so you don't get me in the background. So the audience can be my support system. But I'm not going to be here. not going to be here tomorrow, not because I need a break, because I would have definitely been here, because I think I'm on it this week. I definitely feel like, all of this news needs to be covered. But this weekend, I want y'all to take a break for real, a breather. But I won't be here because I'm working.
My wife just got to get mad at me because I'm getting high this weekend.
Yeah, everybody needs a break. Whatever you need to do it, y'all. Do it. And keep following us so that you can get the real news, whether some people like it or not. Well, all y'all like it or not. We're going to keep doing it the way we do it. I know we tried to run from doing this kind of content, but like Georgia said, it's our purpose. And for such a time as this, this is where we're supposed to be, because when the lies are being put out there, it's us who bring you the truth. So
can I make a special request, James?
Mm-hmm.
Because we're not gonna go to the after party. We everything was done here live, and now you already know what I'm about to request, man.
His song. Dude, I'm not even feeling it, but for you, brother, I got you.
Well, wait. You got something better? Let's know. Because you the DJ, you got something in your wisdom. You probably got a good.
I wouldn't feel the music at all, but I got you, bro.
Oh, okay. I feel it. When you're not feeling music at all, it's a broken space. When you can't even listen to music at all.
Yeah. But I got man.
We can close this show out with that. Yeah.
Close it right here. All right, y'all. Hey, everybody take care. Thank y'all so much. James, you got it, and we'll see everybody tomorrow.
I love you guys. Mean it.
Yeah, everybody smoking all the greenery. Yeah, close the matches they were handed down to me. But I'm still fly, I know. I'm still fly, let's go. It could all be worse, I could be a hater like you. It could all be worse. Pills to make the man, but that poison's gonna chew you. From the inside out, so right now, say it with your chest now, say it with your chest now. I'm free, can't nobody take me here and now. It's my time to run it out. It's my time to ride it. I'm young, I'm free, can't nobody take me here and now. It's my time to run it out. It's my time to ride it out. It's my time. Cheers to all the haters, cause you proved to me that rising to the top was my destiny. And you can see whatever from behind me, but I'm still fly, I know. I'm still fly, let's go. It could all be worse, I could be a hater like you. It could all be worse. Love to make the man, but that poison's gonna kill you. From the inside out, it's time to say it with your chest now, say it with your chest now. I'm young, I'm free, can't nobody take me here and now. It's my time to run it out. It's my time to ride it. I'm young, I'm free, can't nobody take me here and now. It's my time to run it out. It's my time to ride it out.
Teaser, thank you so much for your super chat. I'm still here, and it popped up right before I was about to fade out. Thank you so much for that.
If you're on a train, say yeah. If you gotta walk, say yeah. Everybody's going somewhere. Young or old, I really don't care.
Make sure I read this. Y'all are the best. I love your message and strength to do it without mainstream media censorship. Appreciate that, Tasia.
Can't nobody take me here and now. It's my time to run it out. It's my time to ride it. I'm young, I'm free, can't nobody take me here and now. It's my time to run it out. It's my time. time to ride.